confident that working together we can get the GST agreement and perhaps even the bill before the end of the financial year.
We think this is an extremely important reform. GST will add about 1.5 percentage points, other things being equal, to GDP growth in the country when implemented. It can solve some of the macroeconomic issues of the country, including inflation and fiscal deficit.
After a wave of recent reforms, there's pressure now building on the government to take forward and implement two critical game-changing tax reforms: the Goods and Services Tax or GST and the Direct Tax Code or DTC. Hello and welcome. You're with We Mean Business. I'm Shweta Rajpal Kohli. On the show today, we're discussing the hurdles to the implementation of DTC and GST and whether they're going to turn into a reality next year or not. Let me introduce our guests on the show today. I spoke earlier with Mr. Sushil Modi, the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar and the Chairman of the Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers of GST. Mr. M Singh, Ex-CBDT Chairman, will be with us shortly. But with me here in the Delhi studio, Mr. Vivek Mehra, ED of PwC, Aliff Fazelbhoy, Senior Partner of ALMT Legal, Advocates and Solicitors, joins us from Mumbai. Balbir Singh Mastana, Partner of GSK Legal, also joins us on a link. Mr. TP Ostwal, Senior Partner of TP Ostwal Associates, also joins us from Mumbai. Many thanks all of you for joining us and being here with us. But let me first go across to my interview with Mr. Sushil Kumar Modi and his views on whether we're going to see GST turning into a reality soon enough or not. Mr. Modi, it's really being described as the single most important reform, a game-changing one. Do we see GST becoming a reality soon?
See, to implement goods and service tax in India, we require to amend the Indian Constitution. And the Government of India has introduced 115th Constitutional Amendment Bill in the Parliament in the year 2011 March. And after this introduction of GST bill or the 115th Constitutional Amendment Bill, that bill has been referred to the Standing Committee Finance. And now it is pending with the Standing Committee Finance. So now it has, and the Standing Committee Finance is discussing with the different stakeholders. And I think that by the end of this month or the next month, they are likely to submit their report to the Government of India or to the Parliament. So now the ball is with the Standing Committee Finance.
All right, sir. Do we see states coming on board? Because that's what's absolutely critical to this reform going through. What are some of the reservations that the states seem to have expressed?
See, there are many issues on which the states does not have a consensus. And on the issues on which states were unanimous, those issues were also not incorporated in the bill. So when, as the chairman of the Empowered Committee, I met the Standing Committee Finance, I have mentioned about all those issues. And I assume that this Standing Committee will incorporate most of those issues on which the states are unanimous. So it all depends to what extent this committee covers our unanimous decisions of the Empowered Committee. So everything depends to what extent this committee recommends. And still there are some issues left on which have not been covered by this Standing Committee. In that case, the federal government or the union government will have to convene an all-party meeting, taking into confidence all the political parties.
Mr. Modi, before we move forward on the discussion, do explain to our viewers why the Goods and Services Tax is so important and what are the changes that it will bring about.
See, the biggest, the most important thing is that it will become easier to do business in India. Now, we have got 28 or 29 state governments and 5 or 6 union territories. So there are different laws in different states, different tax rates in different states. So if somebody wants to do business in India, it becomes very difficult for him because each and every state has a different law or different statutes. So when the GST comes to India, so there will be a kind of harmonization. There will be a kind of uniformity in the tax structure. And number two, the cascading will be minimized. As on today, there is a cascading of taxes. So there is a tax on tax. So the burden of tax will be reduced. And because the burden of tax will be reduced, the goods manufactured in India will be more competitive in the international market. And even to check tax evasion, because the design which we envisaged in this GST bill, so it will check tax evasion also to a great extent. And everything will be computerized, because Nandan Nilekani's committee, they are preparing this GST network. So it will become easier for the industry or the traders to do business in India. So from the angle of the industry and business, it will be much easier to do business in India if GST is being implemented. But we have to take care regarding the tax rates. It should not be as high as it is in the European Union. So it will be simple to, it should be simple to implement, because in India, lakhs and lakhs of traders, they are not much educated. They have to deal with the consumers. So all these things we have to take while implementing GST in India.
Absolutely. All parties need to be taken into consideration. We need to build that political consensus. But do share with our viewers what are the concerns of the states, the main hurdles in the implementation of this major reform.
See, the states are basically concerned regarding their fiscal autonomy. No state wants their fiscal autonomy to be encroached upon. So they want some kind of flexibility. So we have proposed that there should be a floor rate. The rate should not be fixed by the federal government or by the GST council, but there should be some flexibility. So there should be a floor rate as it is in the European Union. In the same way regarding compensation, because we all know that when this GST will be implemented, for the first few years, some states will incur heavy losses. So the federal government will have to assure the states, or there should be a mechanism by which the states which are having losses will be compensated by the federal government. So then regarding the tax rate, what shall be the tax rates? Then at the time of any eventuality or during floods or any exigency, at that time state should have power to levy taxes for a certain period. And then regarding this dispute settlement authority, in this amendment bill, there is a mention of a dispute settlement authority, and most of the states are not in favor of incorporating this dispute settlement authority. So there are many issues on which the states were unanimous, but those were not taken care of by the federal government when the bill was introduced in the parliament. So I think this, yes.
Right, sir. So what we're trying to understand is that, is there a sense now emerging that, yes, there is some sort of an agreement, we're getting closer at least to an agreement between the centre and the states on the issue?
See, I feel that Mr. Chidambaram is very flexible. And see, until and unless the concerns of the states are not incorporated or taken care of, this bill cannot be passed. So if the federal government wants that GST should be implemented in India, they will have to take notice of the issues raised by the state governments, because this bill has to be passed by the 50% of the state legislature. So the central government will have to take into confidence, the states has to be taken into confidence. And I think Mr. Chidambaram is very flexible and liberal. And see, I have toured more than 8 countries regarding this GST, and there are different models in the different countries. So we can't copy the European Union model or the Canadian model, because each country has its own model. So every state is in favor of GST. But what you call the devil lies in the details. So what shall be the design of GST? So I think the issues are not such issues which can't be resolved. But it all depends to what extent the federal government or the central government is ready to accommodate the views of the state governments.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. fully optimized for retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.